Hi everybody, today I am going to teach you a sewing technique called fabric piecing, which is essentially taking multiple pieces of fabric and joining them together. So I have a stack of gorgeous prints which I've cut all to 8 inches long, and then there are varying widths between 4 and 3 inches wide. So the width is not as important as having the same height. And you don't have to have 8 inches, you could do 10, 12, it just depends. You're going to create a big panel and it just depends how big you want your finished piece to be. Our focus here today is on the skills that you need to master in order to create these panels. So I'm going to begin by taking 2 pieces of fabric, both of which I mentioned are 8 inches tall, and I'm going to place those right sides together. Okay, and I'm lining up the corners perfectly and the edges perfectly, and then I'm going to stitch down the long end of this fabric. I call this a fabric sandwich. I'm going to stitch down the long end of it. And when I begin, I'm going to reverse to reinforce my stitch. So I'm using a straight stitch. I'm going to go forward 4 or 5 stitches, and then I'm going to go backwards to the end of the fabric and then continue all the way down and reverse stitch at the end. Align the fabric right with the edge of the foot, and that's where my eye is going to focus, on keeping that fabric aligned with the edge of the foot. That's how I'm going to attain a nice straight line. So we're going to start off slow. I'm reverse stitching to reinforce and then going forward all the way to the end. And I'm keeping my eye right here, making sure this fabric is aligned with the very edge of the foot. And if you see things are getting off course, you can stop with your needle in the down position and adjust just a bit. Now I'm approaching the end of this piece of fabric, and when I reach the end or very near the end, I'm going to go in reverse again. And that locks in the stitch. So let's see what we have. I've got a perfectly straight stitch that spans the long end of these 2 pieces of fabric, and when I open that up, I've now pieced 2 pieces of fabric together, and I have a beautiful seam on the back, which if you like you can press open or over. I personally think it adds more structure if you press your seams over versus open. Let's go ahead and join one other piece of fabric to this panel. I think this stripe will be gorgeous. So I'm going to put right sides together. I'm lining up the corners and the edge, and I'm going to stitch from the top to the bottom, reinforcing at both ends. I'm just taking a second here to align my fabric, and I'm keeping that right on the edge of that foot. end. I'm going to take a few more forward stitches and then go in reverse to lock this. Nice straight stitch, and when you open it up, I've now created this gorgeous panel by piecing 3 complementary fabrics together. Now this is part of a custom order that I'm working on, and it's going to become a little cosmetic tote. I'll take a picture when I'm finished and show that to you. What I wanted to do with this video is teach you how to piece the fabric together so you can understand the importance of nice straight cuts of fabric, of maintaining the same seam allowance, lining up the edges, and the value of the reverse stitch.